Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kadash. Yahweh be in the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah be in the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now, we looking at the downfall of Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots, and we know that this is America, the great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. And this woman that sits on many waters, because she's a melting pot, and also she has a global currency. See, due to them in 1944 saying that they was gonna entrust their they was gonna guarantee people's money backed by gold. All of the nations gave America their gold because America guaranteed the gold. So this is how they became so powerful. They sitting on many waters, and they got embassies and all kind of army bases around the world. And so this is how we know who Babylon the Great is. But it's a element in Babylon the Great that a lot of people don't know. Let me see. I want to get Revelation 18 and start off with that. And that's going to segue into the other situation. Revelation 18, and I think it's 11. Yes, 11. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. So when you look at the economy, you see that America is at the top of the chart, and it's the main focus of the world's economy, not just the economy of America, but the world economy is dictated to what America is doing due to their currency and due to the merchants dealing with America. With these other countries, when they trade in the American dollar because they get more value out of the situation. That's why they get one or two American banking accounts and they trade with the American dollar. They don't trade with their own currency. So this is putting the American dollar and the Americans on the top. And so when you go into verse 13 of Revelations 18, it says some significant things. It says the merchants selling cinnamon, odors, ornaments, frankincense, wine. That's a big one because liquor is a major commodity. Oil is a major commodity. That's another thing about the petrodollar. They corner the market with Saudi Arabia on selling the world selling their oil in the American dollar. That made the American dollar even more powerful. They say fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep, horses, chariots. The chariots, meaning the cars, the vehicles that people ride in, vans, trucks, cars. This started in America and spread out through the world. through the invention of these cars in America and the production of these cars, because you had the Ford Company and you had George Washington Carver, a descendant of slaves, in the country. And you had the Patterson Company that created the car um, from the invention of the situation. So then you got and slaves and souls of men. This is the one of the key important things in Babylon the Great, that it has slaves, and the slaves is working so this place can have merchandise coming, uh, pretty much being sold for cheap, and the merchandise whole industry or market is being maintained with the slaves and cheap labor. You see, and so this is how this city Babylon has become great, because you got Nigeria with the same amount of people that America has, but they don't have slaves. See, they don't have a major slave market. They don't have a major port uh, where you have these ships coming in and out. Like in verse 17, it says, "For in 1 hour great riches is come to naught for every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors, as many as trade by sea stood for all." So they don't have all these ships um, trading and doing all of this business with merchandise in these different countries, uh, because Nigeria sells a lot of oil. They have a lot of oil in their country. So they not a poor country, but it's not on the level that America is. America has slaves. So then it's doing a lot of trade with around the world. So this is what made their country great. And that takes us to Revelation 13, because it was the leader of the beast. And the beast is a nation that took these slaves in their possession, and they pretty much, their foundation now is America, or in the last days is America. But before America, you had the British dollar, or the British currency, that was number one, due to them having slaves that came from the west coast of Africa. And so when you look at this beast, the beast had 10 horns. And see that the currency that came before the American dollar, or that was in existence, and that was number one before 1944, it was the British dollar, because they had colonized the world. So they had the currency, due to them having slave labor, that was the top currency. But that transferred into America once the gold standard and guaranteeing people currency backed up by gold came into play in 1944. But let's see what this beast, which is a nation that got 10 horns, and that this America is riding on this beast. But Europe, the EU, the European Union, that's the 10 horns. And so both of these entities is the beast and the whore that's riding on the beast. So they both connected. It's a woman and a beast. They both connected, and they're both one nation, America and the EU or NATO. And these individuals' whole foundation is their currency from having cheap labor of slaves. Look at Revelation 13 and 10. It says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." Now we go to verse 1 to let you know that this beast has 10 horns. See, this beast has 10 horns, and Apostle John got this from Daniel. See, Daniel was bringing this out in his prophecy. Daniel 7:23, it says, "Thus he says, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. And the 10 horns out of this fourth kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise." So them 10 kings is the European Union and NATO. See, they had that currency of whatever the British dollar was or currency was called. You see, I don't know if it was the pound or the euro or whatever they was calling it at the time. That was the number one currency on the earth. And then when World War II happened, it destroyed their infrastructure, and they had to start going into debt due to that. But that brought America up and the American dollar up as number one. And so it was the leader of the 10 horns, meaning it was the great whore riding. Let me go get that out of Revelation. Revelations 17 and 18. It said, "And the woman which you saw is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." See, and let me get it in 15 too. It say, "And he says unto me, the waters which you saw," that's talking about this nation, "where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." So this beast sat on many nations. See, and it was sitting on the beast. And this beast was the 10 kings was all from one nation. Now let's get this nation, because this nation is going to identify who is ruling. Now when you go into this, let me get Joel 3:2. It say, "I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." So this scattering among the nations, who scattered Israel among the nations? Um, let's get to the point. Verse 6, it say, "The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have he sold unto the Grecians." Okay, so the Grecians is the one that scattered uh, the Israelites into all these nations. And how did they scatter them? Okay, that's gonna be my next point, to show who these individuals are. But it says Grecians there, but look at verse 19. It say, "Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land." Now, Egypt is not a nation. See, Egypt is not a nationality. That's just a place. But Edom, that is a nationality. That's a bloodline. And these are the individuals who um, was putting the Israelites into captivity and spreading them all over the world. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and get 49, it says, "The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce continents, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young." So this was going to be a nation that was going to be spreading them around and enslaving them. Look at verse 68. It say, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. See, you got ships that's going to take them to this place. It say, and by the way thereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there, see, in that place, you shall be sold unto your enemy. It says, for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. So you was going to have to be sold unto your enemy in a place. You see, and that place was going to be a nation running this place. So we see that the place in Joel was Edom. Now you're going to Amos chapter 1. It reiterates the situation. Verse 6, it say, thus says the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom. So when you see Revelation say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, it's talking about Edom. Edom that led the Israelites in the whole captivity of the Israelites in the captivity. Edom is going to have to go into captivity. And so it identifies, Amos identifies, and Joel identifies the people that were spreading the Israelites around the world. Okay, so let me get another one. Luke 21:24. It says, this is Yahushua speaking. He says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. So he's saying the Gentiles is going to be in Jerusalem until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So this Gentile nation of Edom is going to be trotting down the Israelites while they're in slavery in all nations, you see, because this fourth kingdom was going to devour the whole earth. See, they were going to have the whole earth under their subjection. So this Edom is going to still be the one that got the Israelites in captivity in the fourth kingdom. And so these individuals got to go into captivity. Let's get Jeremiah 30. It says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. See, the whole nation has to go into captivity. The whole nation of Edom. Okay, so when you get to Isaiah 14:2, it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captive they were. See, if the Edomites had the Israelites in captivity, they got to go into captivity. And they shall rule over their oppressors. And that's who the Lucifer was. Lucifer is not no fallen angel. This is describing the nation of Edom falling from their rulership. See, how art thou fallen from heaven? And see, this is the same question that was asked in Obadiah. When Obadiah wrote his whole prophecy was about the nation of Edom. And look at the question in verse 5 and verse 6. But it says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art you cut off? You see, then in verse 6 it says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So this is the prophecy about these individuals. Now going back to Joel, it said the Grecians. Now we know exactly who the Grecians is. But let's get it out of the Maccabees. It says, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So the Grecians, we know who the Alexander was, the Grecians of the ancient Greece, or the empire of Greece. Now when you go into Maccabees 5, First Maccabees 5 and 3, it says, Thus Judas fought against the children of Esau in Idumea. So the Israelites was fighting the Grecians. See, the Grecians came and infiltrated Jerusalem during this Maccabean era. See, that's why they took it out of the Bible. They didn't want the Maccabean era to even be in there, because they seen that this was a clear indication that these Edomites was going to be identified. It says Judas fought against the children of Esau. It directly called the Grecians the children of Esau. So it directly called the so-called white man the Grecian. The Greco-Roman empires was Caucasian European empires. See, and that's why in Revelation we talk about their the wound, they was wounded and came back alive. See, the head of the beast was wounded because they went out of power after the Roman Empire around about 193. They went out of power. They didn't come back into power until 1492. You see? So they were revived in 1492, and they started throwing the Israelites into captivity. So let me get one more. So Amos talks about pretty much when King David and the Israelites take back over in the last days prophecy, and look who get brought up. So they gonna be here when King David rebuilt the kingdom of the Israelites, the kingdom of heaven, through Yahushua. It says in verse 12, it says that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen. So this places the Edomites at the end of the world and at the end of Bible prophecy. And in the New Testament, it brings it back up and restated it. But in verse 16, was it James? Yeah, James answered, and he quoted Amos 9 and 12, letting it be known that this is how the Bible prophecy is going to end. with the rebuilding of the tabernacle of David, the kingdom of Israel, the northern and southern kingdom of Israel. But I see my battery about to shut down. Let me get one more out of Daniel. Because that revelation said, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Here the patience and the faith of the saints. See, the saints went into captivity, so they're going to have patience to see that they capture or they slave master is going to go into captivity. So verse 18 is talking about the saints that went into captivity under the fourth beast, the last kingdom, the kingdom of Edom. Say, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever. That takes me to 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. See, they're going to take the kingdom from Edom, who's the last ruling kingdom, before Jacob take over and rule forever. And so, and at that time, they're going to go into slavery. They're going to go into captivity. See, they're going to be possessed by the kingdom of the Israelites. But I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rekakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.